guys, you're welcome back.
This week marked the start of the annual Hajj pilgrimage, with a record 2.5 million Muslims expected to make the once-in-a-lifetime journey to the holy city of Mecca in Saudi Arabia. The Hajj is one of the 5 pillars of Islam, which means Muslims are required to undertake it at least once in their lifetimes, that is if they are physically and financially able to do so. For pilgrims, it is a profound spiritual experience that wipes away sins, brings them closer to God, and highlights Muslim unity. The pilgrimage draws Muslims from around the world to Mecca, where they walk in the footsteps of the Prophet Muhammad, who consecrated the Kaaba and inaugurated the Hajj during the 7th century. A former Catholic priest from South Africa, who has converted hundreds of former Christians to Islam, explains what the Hajj means to him and 2 billion other Muslims.
We're happy.
As you can imagine, the cost of international flights and accommodation is prohibitive to much of the world's Muslim population, which is why it takes most pilgrims a lifetime's worth of savings to afford what is a series of religious rituals completed over 5 days in Mecca and the surrounding areas. The average Hajj travel package can cost anywhere from $12,000 to $50,000, depending on the level of accommodation. When you multiply 2.5 million annual pilgrims by tens of thousands of dollars, then you can see why the enemies of Islam have become green with envy, and therefore seek to profit from the annual religious gathering. Now, when I refer to the enemies of Islam, I'm specifically referring to their governments of the United States, India, and Saudi Arabia, because each are guilty of exploiting and capitalizing upon one of the 5 pillars of Islam, which should justifiably outrage every single Muslim. We will reveal how each of these regimes exploits the Hajj, but let's start with Saudi Arabia, which pulls in $30 billion per year from religious tourism, helping the kingdom diversify its economy by reducing its dependence on oil and gas. I mean, nobody has a problem with the Saudi government benefiting economically from Hajj pilgrims. But what upsets Muslims is the way the Saudi regime has Americanized Islam's holiest sites to exact even greater profits, while destroying sacred and historical Islamic sites along the way. For instance, the home belonging to Prophet Muhammad's first wife, Khadijah, was demolished to make way for 1,400 public toilets. And today, the US-owned Hilton Hotel sits atop what was once the house of the Prophet's companion, Abu Bakr. These luxury hotels and brands have made Mecca a Disneyland for the rich and famous. Even Paris Hilton sells her handbags at Islam's holiest site.
The internet has been buzzing about Paris Hilton. There's been outrage. She's opening a handbag store in the holy city of Mecca, Saudi Arabia. People were incensed the socialite would be selling purses on the way to pilgrimage. Paris was proud, though.
But what's even more upsetting to Muslims and human rights activists around the world was the Saudi government's move to partner with an Indian company to manage Hajj pilgrimage bookings, meaning pilgrims from Europe, North America, and the United Kingdom can no longer book their travel through independent tour operators, but instead must go through the website matawif.com. This website is owned by an ally and backer of Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, an individual who is not only responsible for the mass murder of 2,000 Muslims 20 years ago, but also has brought 200 million Muslims in India and Kashmir to the brink of genocide. I mean, imagine that. The Saudi regime handing exclusive rights for its Hajj pilgrimage booking system to a company that has the actual blood of thousands of dead Muslims on its hands. But this disgusting injustice doesn't end there, because dozens of Muslims contacted me during last year's pilgrimage to share with me their individual stories of mysteriously disappeared bookings, tour and flight cancellations, and worse, which I wrote about in this article here.
It feels like there are people here that are making money out of this. It's like kind of religious tourism. Some people, for example, weren't able to go because they just didn't have the extra cash. So there was a difference in price selection, but also it took me around 26 attempts to pay. The system kept rejecting my payments, even though they paid. Some people have said that the application is still pending. Other people have paid and they've said it's been rejected or there's been a refund. Other people haven't got their visas, or like me, you've paid, you've got your visa, there's still no ticket information, and I leave in a few days and we're still waiting for that ticket information.
in choosing Mutawif. The Saudi regime has effectively turned the Hajj pilgrimage booking system into a lottery, meaning pilgrims are no longer guaranteed a right to travel to Mecca during the Hajj of their choosing. Instead, they must wait to have their number plucked out of a hat. Needless to say, this has caused great heartache and despair for tens of thousands of Muslims in Europe, America and Australia. And many who were scammed and ripped off during last year's Hajj are still waiting for compensation from the Indian-owned company. And if all of this wasn't bad enough, then consider this piece of new reporting that shows the CIA used a photo of pilgrims attending the Hajj to illustrate the potential capabilities of new surveillance and artificial intelligence technologies. This image appeared in a presentation by a senior official in the CIA's Digital Innovation Directorate on how the spy agency's shift to cloud-based technologies was transforming its intelligence gathering capabilities.
Amazing capabilities in the case of finding people we care about, knowing who they are, what they're doing, their intentions, where they are. We've been able to deliver solutions that in 30 days not only identify and answer those questions, but allow us to scale that across multiple mission sets seamlessly. That now has become the job of headquarters.
What you just witnessed reveals how the US government continues to create and deploy technologies to monitor and track undesirable religious communities, but particularly Muslims. Perversely, these surveillance tools are often sold to the governments of Muslim-majority countries, including Saudi Arabia, to track and target Islamic scholars, preachers, and activists.
Digital authoritarianism. Countries like China, Russia, Iran, and Saudi Arabia use these tools to surveil their populations for signs of dissent and to detect political opposition. Authoritarians also use digital tools to undermine adversaries abroad, extending their reach internationally. These countries export their tools and tactics.
So when you piece all of this together, what you have is the enemies of Islam conspiring together to turn what should be the most joyous journey of every Muslim's life into a grueling, frustrating, and costly ordeal. You have the Saudi regime Americanizing Islam's holiest sites and channeling billions of dollars of pilgrim money to the Muslim-hating Indian government, while at the same time, the United States develops and promotes its surveillance technologies to regimes that repress Muslim populations. This is the unholiest of unholy alliances against the religion of Islam. But strangely, hardly anybody is talking about it. Anyway, that's my time for today.
Wow. What? I don't know why somebody will apply, will try and make payment, and it was rejected 25 times, and the 26th time, that's when he was able to pay. I know the traffic is high, the demand is high. People were really, really ready to pay to go to the Hajj, but at the same time, they should have made it in a way that millions of people can go without having issue, without having problem with payments. You get it? So now I'm not trying to understand what the Hajj is all about as a non-Muslim. I think it happened during their festival that just concluded 28th of June. That was on my birthday. So this is a good information. Him talking about the former priest, former priest going to the Hajj after converting hundreds of thousands of Christians. Yes. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.